everyone, how you doing today? My name is Kirsty, aka Beth Bookish, and it is time for a serious series update. The last time I did a series update, it was in March 2024, so it's been over a year. Honestly, far too many of these books were also on that video. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to do the thing where I put the video up here and then I'm like, oh, I did read that, didn't read that, did read that, you know? I'm not going to do it that way. This video has kind of come on the back of a recent video I did where I was logging every single physical book I own. And it came out with something like 100 and... I've got it written down actually, I can have a look. 109 series on my shelves, and of those, only 17% of them had been completed. Now, I feel like that's not really a great number in general, but also a lot of those are manga. And it got me to thinking, because also I have series where it's not a really accurate number for how many series I actually have in progress, because obviously we have audiobooks and ebooks and things like that I don't own the physical copies of, and also that number involves a lot of manga and I track those separately. So I was like, do you know what, been a while since I last did a proper series update. I've separated them into different categories. I've got series that I have DNF'd since that last update. I've got the ones that I have completed since then. There are ones that I am up to date with, so it means that I have read up to the current book, and so, you know, I can't really advance any further with these ones because there are no more to advance with. And then finally are the far biggest stack, which is the book series that I have in progress. I'm not going to spend loads of time telling you what every single series is about, otherwise this will be a 3-hour long video. But what I am going to do is, once we get to the still reading and, you know, their unfinished series, I will put a little counter up so I can keep an actual track of just how many I have got going on and cry about it. Let's get into it. Kickstarting this off with the DNFs to get the sort of the negatives out of the way. And we have one that originally, when I recorded that last video, was a standalone, is now a duology, but I have no interest, and that is The Darkness Outsiders by Elliot Schrefer. I see what he was doing with the book, I see what was going on, I see what the point of it was. It wasn't for me. I didn't end up having the best of times, and I have absolutely no interest in the sequel to this whatsoever. I haven't actually put a review out yet. This will be in my May wrap-up, so you're kind of getting a sneak peek on this one, but it is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This started off as a 5-star read. It's still a beautiful cover, but the story itself just went... The story at the end of the book was not what it was at the beginning, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the dynamics between the characters. Everything moved way too fast, and it says enemies to lovers, yet they were barely rivals to lovers. And I say barely. It's insulting to enemies to lovers to label this enemies to lovers, in my humble opinion. But yeah, I just ended up giving it a 3.5. Ended up not really enjoying it, and I do not have any inclination now to pick up the sequel, no matter how beautiful that cover is. And then the last two are just ones where I had such an amazing time with the first book. I don't want to continue because I don't want that experience that I had with the first book to be kind of dampened. One of them because multiple people have said the series just goes from the first book. And I trust those people and their opinions, and so when they all tell me I will not enjoy the series if I continue, and to treat the first book as a standalone, I'm going to do that. And then the other one, it was just so incredible, I'm worried that any other book that comes after it just can't hit the way it did. So the first one of these is Poison Study by Maria V. Snyder, and this is the one where I've been told just don't continue it, treat it as a one-off. Especially as I did have this as one of my absolute favourite books of 2020. I usually, if I annotate, I write the date, August 2022. So, yeah, I've had multiple people tell me, just don't put yourself through it and don't bother reading the rest of the series, and I'm going to trust those people. And then the one that I just feel nothing else can come even close to the emotional and cultural impact is The Hate You Give. I just have no interest in reading the sequels to it or prequel with Concrete Rose. And I just feel personally like this book was so incredible. I don't really feel I need to read anything else, and that this on its own is just the perfect book. And so yeah, I won't be, unless I am told I have to read the other books, I'm going to keep this one as a very pivotal moment in my reading journey. Up next we have the ones that I finished, to have a little bit of celebration before we get to the oh god, what is my life. So I actually have a pretty decent stack of books here of series that I have finished in the last year. As it is the most recent series, I binge read this in about 3 days in May, and you can see it in my Easter reading vlog. But we have Hannah Bonham Young, Out on a Limb and Out of the Woods. So far she hasn't announced if there's going to be any others, so I'm counting this currently as a completed series. I also finished the Captive Prince trilogy by C.S. Pacat, and that is now on the all-time favourite shelf. It sits up on this shelf right here above me. Oh my god, this is true enemies to lovers. If you're writing enemies to lovers and it's not like this, rewrite your book. Another one I finished was The Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. I know I talked about this one in the last video, but I can't remember if I said that I'd finished it. But I have now completed this one, and yeah, this one has also gone on to my all-time favourite shelf. It started off a bit rocky, but by the end I was on board and I was in love, and I do plan on doing a reread and an annotation thing. Maybe for like September, you know, like Dark Academia season, I might do a reread of these and annotate them as I go. Who knows, but I do definitely want to reread them now that I've fallen in love with them. Another one that I finished thanks to Ren and their incredible library was the Monk and Robot series by Becky Chambers. I read the second one while I was in Australia. I still thought it was good, but I just felt the first one really gave me the feels, and it really made me stop and think about things, whereas the second one, it felt like the messaging was less subtle. It was kind of a bit more punch you in the face trying to get this message across. I felt like I was being forced into thinking and reflecting, whereas with this one it was a lot gentler. It was a really lovely introduction for me to sort of cozy sci-fi, and I definitely am intrigued by the author and would love to read more of her, but it does mean that this one is complete. I also completed the Morisaki Bookshop series, and even though, again, the second book was nowhere near as good as the first one focused more on the idea of readers and reading and the comfort that books bring us, whereas the second one focused on the family and some stuff that was going on, particularly with like grief and terminal illness. But I did enjoy it enough that I bought this Waterstones edition, which is both the Days at the Morisaki Bookshop and More Days at the Morisaki Bookshop bound into one. And it's got like shinies and I like it, it's pretty, and yeah, I did decide to get myself that. And then the last one that I am aware of finishing is the Sunbearer Trials duology, and again, noticing a pattern here, has gone onto my all-time favourite shelves. There seems to be a thing that I don't finish series, but when I do, they are usually all-time favourites. I think it's because compared to standalones, you spend a lot more time with the characters, and when you read a series, you know, you spend more time in that world and you really get a lot longer time to connect with people. So that's probably why more series end up on my all-time favourites than standalones. I just don't finish them. But this one was absolutely solid, definitely reinforced the fact that Aidan Thomas is an auto-buy all-time favourite author of mine. And just, oh, I had such a great time with this duology. Naya is just my spirit animal. I want a book where Naya and Julian from Cemetery Boys get together, because oh my god, the chaos. Can you imagine? The world would cease to exist, and then their sort of disaster partners and best friends would just be like, oh my god, what did we do? It would be glorious. But yeah, definitely love this and cannot wait to read more from Aidan Thomas. So the fun, celebratory or not so celebratory stuff is over. Now it's time to get into the ones I haven't yet finished. I'm going to start with the ones that I'm up to date because that has the least number of books. This is where the counter is going to go up. And we are starting with The Dark Becomes Her by Judy I. Lin. This was one that I read last year and I had a great time. It was really fun. We haven't yet had any confirmation dates or titles or covers or anything like that for the second book. But at the end of the first one, it does say that it will be continuing. So there is a guaranteed at least a second book in this series and I am very excited. Next up we have Under Your Spell by Laura Wood. I can't think of the actual title of the series. Book 2, Let's Make a Scene, comes out in July. So as of right now, which is the middle of May, I am up to date. And I have the second book on pre-order and absolutely will be reading that the second it comes through my door. I am having a great time with Laura Wood as an author. This was the second thing that I read from her and both books I've read from her so far have been 5 stars. So she is well on her way to becoming an all-time favourite auto-buy author for me. We have Shanghai Immortal by A.Y. Chow. Again, the second book is due out in July this year. I'm not desperate to pick it up. I did have a good time with this, but it's like the longer I've gone since reading it, the less I think about it. And it's not one that really stuck with me in the first place. It's probably more one that I'll read just to complete a series rather than because I'm really excited. So, you know, this one could end up being a DNF by this time next year whenever I do my next series update, but for now I do intend on continuing it. And then one that was a standalone for a number of years, I begged and pleaded and prayed to any and all deity that may or may not exist past and present, and they listened. Because Cemetery Boys is getting a sequel! I mean, sad times, it was supposed to come out this year, but it got postponed a year, but it's because Aiden felt that the quality wasn't to their liking, and so they were like, hey, I want to rewrite some of this and I don't want to publish it until I feel it's actually perfect. And the publishers went, you know what, okay, you do that, rather than be like, no, we're going to push it out anyway. So yeah, we are getting Espiritu and I cannot wait because we have a cover, we have a blurb, we have a Julian. I need this book in my life. And then that means we're on to the ones that, to be fair, I think almost all of these were featured in the video from last time and I just haven't made any continuations of. So we're just going to start with those ones. First up, we have The Nightingale Square by Heidi Swain. This is one that I'm 50-50 on whether I am going to go and read because this is technically book 3, but you didn't suffer for not having read the first 2 books. It was one that you could just, you know, throw yourself into, all is good. I had a great time with it. I did really enjoy it, but it's one I don't really know if I want to continue. I think it will be, if I see it in a charity shop, I will pick them up and read them, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get to them. But then, of course, we've got to follow up with I would actually die if I don't continue this series, and that is the Side Changing series by Nalini Singh. We all know this is my ride or die series. I even have the first one here with me right now because after this I'm going to be filming for my May wrap up where I had a very impromptu reread of it and I'm now starting a reread of the whole series again. So yeah, this is Resonance Surge. This isn't the latest one, it's the one before. I haven't yet read the latest one because shockingly I read no Nalini Singh last year. I feel like a fraud when I say that she's my favourite author, but I just didn't get round to it. And the ebooks, quite frankly, it is absurd that the ebooks cost as much, if not sometimes more, than the paperback. Make that make sense. So I'm just waiting for, I think Storm Echo is now out in paperback, so the next time I'm in a Waterstones I will pick that up for myself, but in the meantime I'm going to content with a reread because I love it so much. And then we also, by Nalini Singh, have the Guild Hunter series. I stopped reading this one because it was starting to do a bit of a time skip thing and I was starting to lose understanding of what was going on. So I've decided that as the next book, like the one that comes out next year, is going to be the final in the series, I've decided to wait until then and then I will do a big binge of the entire series. I did get up to like, I'm 2 books behind now, so I will only be 3 books behind, but yeah, it just, the plot was starting to get to a point where having a year in between was too long for my brain to remember anything. So I'd rather just read it all in one go, and then after that dip in and out of whichever book takes my fancy at the time, which will probably be this one. Next up we have a little novella, and this is The Sorcery of Thorns, Mysteries of Thorn Manor little novella. The only reason I have not yet read this is because I want to do a reread of Sorcery of Thorns, and I would ideally like to get a copy of the Fairy Loot edition because I used to have it and then I sold it when I sold it for reasons, and now I want to buy it back. So, you know, I want to reread and annotate that one so I can then go on and read this one. And it's also kind of similar with This Poison Heart by Callum Bayron because, again, this was the Fairy Loot edition. So if any of you have or know of anyone that is looking to sell the sequel Fairy Loot edition of this, please do let me know. And sort of, if you have Sorcery of Thorns, please do let me know because, you know, I would like to get the Fairy Loot editions of them so I have matching editions. And that is purely why I haven't yet read it, is because I don't want to buy another edition only to then buy this one. I did actually get it from the library when I was in Adelaide, and I did start the sequel, but I ran out of time to read anything. So yeah, just this one's going to have to stay TBR for now. Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. I've been a bit hesitant with this one because I've heard some people say that the sequel isn't as good as the first book, and that kind of does put me off. And again, it's people I trust, but I have really enjoyed this one, and I hear so many great things about Alexis Hall's writing in general. So I will at least give Husband Material a try. I will at least give it a go and see how I get on. The next one is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha Nyan. I have an update. I started the third book. Finally. Unfortunately, I started the third book right at the start of the big slump that I had in February, March, April. And so even though my slump is now kind of shifting in a very big way, like I've gone from reading no novels for 2 months straight, nearly 3 months, to having read I think 5 in a week this last week. So my reading mojo is absolutely back. I just want to get my TBR stuff done and then when it's left over. So hopefully this is going to go on my June TBR for Pride Month. So watch this space, but currently it is unfinished, but I have made progress. And then one that I did DNF, but I DNF'd, decided that the author wasn't for me, was convinced to give the author a go with a different series, have now fallen in love with that author's work, and so I've decided to give this series another go. Spellslinger by Sebastian de Castell. I've got the hardback of this one. I wasn't expecting to get the hardback of this one, but I ended up with the hardback of this one from Wilder Books. So that one's in progress, but also the Greatcoats, still unread. One that is technically, it's a bit of a weird one, but we have the Fever series by Karen Marie Moaning, because originally this was a series of 5 books, and I have read those 5 books 3 or 4 times now. In fact, this is actually the second time that I have filmed this video, but some of the footage didn't actually record when I checked it back, and during that I had a little bit of a break, and I even started another reread of it. So, you know, it is one of my all-time favourite series, but then they decided to continue the series on, and rather than do it as like a separate series and have it as like a spin-off series, they just decided to continue it straight on from the original 5. And that really frustrates me because now the series is 13 books, and I'm like, I can't say I've finished the series now because I technically haven't. Even though I've read the original 5 books that you can just read as its own series and not read anything else, but technically the series is unfinished. That one doesn't annoy me at all. One, I have no excuse. Actually, I've got a few in a row here where I have no excuse because I own all of the books in the series. So first up, we have the Bright Falls series that started with Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and then I've got Astrid Parker and Iris Kelly. Yep, I did plan on reading one of them over Easter, but then Hannah Bonham Young kind of took over my life. But I do still tentatively want to try and get these on my TBR for June, again for like my Pride reading. Same with Midnight's Twins series by Holly Race. I own all 3. I've been saying for ages that I'm going to read them, but I'm thinking now, I've got a few series where I've got all of the books, so I'm considering doing like a vlog, and this is one of the series that I'm probably going to reread the first one and then read the other 2 and do a vlog of just doing the whole series. Let me know if you would be interested in that. And another one I have absolutely no excuse is the Shadow Game series by Amanda Foody, which again, Similarly to The Greatcoats, I've now gone back and started a reread because I've forgotten too many of the details. So when I did start reading this, I was very quickly like the very first chapter has a name and I don't even know who that is. It's been that long since I read the first two. I don't even know who this person is. So yeah, we're going to go back and do a reread of that one again. We then have the Nightmareverse by L.L. McKinney. I've got the first two and I was holding off until the third one came out. The third one is now out, so I'm going to buy that and do that one as a vlog back to back. One that was technically up to date until about 2 months ago when the third book came out was the Legendborn series. So this is Bloodmarked, which is book 2. And yeah, like I said, the third one is now out. I don't have the third one for monetary reasons. And so I have just got to try and get it before it goes to paperback because it is so hard to get the hardbacks of these sometimes. But and as the first two are hardback, I want the first two. I want the third one to be in hardback. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to that one and continue having my emotions played with. Another one that is pretty heavy on the emotions and is another reason I've held off, 16 Souls by Rosie Talbot. I still maintain this is one of my absolute favourites ever and is still one of my favourite debuts of all time. And then 12 Bones I haven't yet read because, again, I'm waiting for the third one so I can do a sort of reading vlog and read the whole series back to back. And again, similarly with the Scandal series by Laura Wood, I've read the first one, gave it 5 stars. The second one is this one, and then the third one came out a couple of months ago, and again I'm just gonna treat myself to that one so I can again do a whole series and do them all back to back. I keep saying I'm going to do them back to back. Have I ever read a series back to back apart from Captive Prince last year where that was a bit of a fluke? Oh no, actually I have, because Shadow of the Fox I did those back to back. Raven Cycle I did back to back and did all of them within like a month period. So maybe that's just the way I've got to go in future, is the only way I'm going to read series is if I read the whole series in one big binge. Maybe that is what I am missing. Next up we have the 100 Kingdoms by Alexandra Christo. To Kill a Kingdom is book 1. This is technically a companion novel, so it's all different characters but set in the same world. Kitty in the Midnight Hour, I did have a big binge of this last year. I read the first 5 books in like a 3-week period and then I just stopped again just because money. But when I've got a little bit spare I will get the next sort of 4 or 5. There's 11 I think in the full series. So, you know, I've only got 6 more to go and they are very quick and easy. Like I was reading at one point, I read 2 of them in a single day. And, you know, I can easily get through, like this book in particular only took me about 2.5 hours to get through. So, you know, they're very quick and very easy to read. But they are also very kind of early to mid 2000s style. They're great. I love them. An author I have tried multiple times and this is my last chance to enjoy, otherwise this will be a DNF, and that is the Discworld series. I have read all 3 of the Witches books. I've read The Colour of Magic, Maurice and His Educated Rodents, and I have had very mixed to bad experiences. And I've been assured that if any book is going to get me finally on board with his writing, it is Mort. So this book has a lot riding on it, but otherwise in the next series update you'll see this as a DNF series and I'm never going to try again. Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, I haven't continued this one because I can't seem to get hold of the audiobooks without spending like Audible credits, and I now have cancelled my Audible. So all the free channels that I use, I can't seem to get it, and in terms of the books I want to get matching editions to this one, and again that costs money. Then we have the Convention series, which is another one that at the time I really wanted to continue. Now I'm kind of like, do I really want to? So I think again it's one that if it turns up in like a sale or a charity shop or something like that, or if someone's giving away the sequel, I will go for it. But otherwise I'm not in a rush and I will just probably never get to it. And then one I absolutely have to get to, it's not even got the cover on it right now. This is the protective cover that Ren bought me for Christmas. But we have the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. This is book 5 and then book 6, but I did start a reread of it so that I can try and sort of get myself back up to speed, because again, was starting to forget some of the finer details that I needed in order to continue with the series. So I figured, hey, why not just go back and start a reread? So that's what I'm currently doing. And then we've just kind of, for this little bit, we've got, or this big bit, we've got like the online ones, so, and like my ebooks, audiobooks. We've got Only a Monster by Vanessa Len. I do own the physical copy, but that is currently sat in the drawers that I was using at Ren's house because I didn't have enough space in my suitcase. The Kitsune Chronicles by Lissa Casey. I just keep forgetting that it's there, and I know it's on Kindle Unlimited. I just keep forgetting. So I will try and get to that one this year. The Conductors by Nicole Glover. I absolutely loved the first one, but I feel like I would need to get the first one again as well as the second one so that I can read them back to back and reread the first one, because that was, I think, 2019 that I read it. And so I definitely do still want to read it. We have the Mind series by St. Abbey, and the only reason I've not continued that one is purely just because I keep forgetting my ebooks exist, in all honesty. And then another one that was up to date until last year when they announced there was going to be a third book, and I was like, did we need a third book really? And based on reviews, I don't think we did, but I'm going to try and read it anyway, is the third book in the Daughter of the Pirate King series. And that really annoys me when a series has been completed for a while and then suddenly they're like, oh, by the way, it's no longer a completed series. And you're like, but my stats. And then the last section for this, like, part of the video is the book series that I still have on the go. Like, they're ongoing, but these are ones that I started since that last video. So in the last year, these are the series that I have started. First one is technically not actually a series. Like, it's not been listed as a series and we don't have a series name. But Once Upon a K-Prom by Kat Cho now does have a sequel, and it follows one of the other band members. So even though it's not officially a series, I consider it a series. So we have that one. Then we have Next to You, which is the sequel to Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young, and I'm hoping to get to extremely soon. Bookshops and Bone Dust is the sequel to Legends and Lattes that I read for a cottagecore style video that I did last year. Please do go check that out if you haven't yet already. We have Little Thieves by Margaret Owen, which was actually my book of the year for last year. I technically have started the second one, but I only got a chapter in and then the slump hit. And I've really, if my reading has been bad, my audiobooks have been even worse this year. I haven't completed any yet. And there's going to be a video coming out soon about failing goals, and that's going to be something I talk about in there, but you know, it is what it is. We have the Dreamers trilogy by Maggie Stiefvater, which again, I'm just doing through audiobooks, so as my audio reading is tailing off, that hasn't been gotten to, but I am on book 2 for that and have been really thoroughly enjoying it. We have Wayward Children by Shauna Maguire. I didn't really enjoy book 2 because it just kind of felt like we were getting a repeat of the things we'd already been told all throughout the first book, and it kind of felt like a bit of an unnecessary book, but I have been assured that the rest of the series doesn't do that, so I will push through and continue. Then we have the Sex Wizard series by Alethea Faust, which was a very strong contender for Book of the Year last year and shocked pretty much everyone who knows me, but it's a book series with a magic school that's full of adults and the magic system is kink based. And yet it has really solid characters and a really enjoyable good plot. Like, what? What is this? It is genius and crack. That is what it is. It is crack. And then we have Her Dark Angel, which is a sort of musician band romance. So he's the lead singer of a band. She's a Hollywood actress. Fake dating. It was good. I enjoyed. We have Butcher and Blackbird that I did not expect to enjoy and is a contender already for Book of the Year for this year. I had a great time and I cannot wait to get the second and third book. And again, I think I might do a vlog where I just binge all 3 books back to back because they are just such a fun time. Like, certainly the first one, I had such a fun time. It was great. And another one that was one of my contenders for Book of the Year last year was Sorcery and Small Magics by Maiga Ducey. And I think technically that one I can list as up to date. I should have put that in the up to date section because there's not a second book out yet. But oh my god, the slowest of slow burns. It was glorious. Like, I'm not kidding you. We had, what, 500 pages? and we got no more than a very heat of the moment passionate kiss that was everything. And it just left me wanting more, and honestly, that is how to write a beautiful slow burn. I am for a slow burn. I've learned I don't like insta love. I need slow burn. I need that angsty, torturous build. Yes. And that had it so well. And then the very last two that I'm going to talk about are the ones that I'm actually currently reading and will have finished by the time like the end of the month comes, because, you know, by the time we get to June, we're going to be out of date, because I've got at least 3 that I want on my TBR for June that are going to start new series. So, you know, doing great. But 2 more that will be part of this, so I'm going to include it in the numbers, because by the time hopefully this goes out, at least one of these will be finished. The first is Promise of Blood by Brian McClellan. I do plan currently on continuing it. I am having a good time and I am connecting with the characters, so I will be continuing this. And then the one that I am really thoroughly enjoying is Blackheart Nights by Laura Eve, and it's like Arthurian knights on motorcycles in a alternate Earth London. It's fantastic. I'm having a great time. By my calculations, that is 45 series. The counter may tell you different, but I'm hoping it's not going to be more than that. So yeah, 45 series that I am still in the middle of. And that doesn't even count any of the manga ones. That's going to be at least another 45, if not more. So yeah, it's all going good at my end. Let me know in the comments, do you know how many series you have ongoing? Or are you like me and you just kind of remain oblivious because it's better for your mental health that way? And also, are you reading any of these series yourselves? Maybe we can do a bit of a buddy read going on and inspire each other to actually read the damn books. Let me know, I'm always happy to hear your thoughts. In the meantime, I hope you're all good, I hope you're staying safe, and I will see you on the next one. Bye! That was really squeaky. Bye!